What's going on, guys? Billy here, and over the past couple of days we've done a ton of talking about the DJI FPV drone, but in today's video I just want to fly it. So today is going to be a full flight with the DJI FPV controller using the standard remote controller. We're going to be using the motion controller here in a couple of days, but today I just want to do a standard flight with this drone with the controller that it comes with if you buy the FPV combo. Now, as we fly, I'm going to kind of walk you through some of the things that I like about this drone, but regardless, hopefully in this video you can get a really good understanding of what this drone has to offer in terms of performance by watching me fly it around. And it's good timing too, because we've got a train moving back there that we can do some following on. So we'll go ahead and take the drone off. This is something that I like, first of all, that you can take the drone off using your hand. Just let it go like that. And it's flying just in a standard normal mode right now. We can drop it into manual, line up our sticks, and start going. So unfortunately, I'm unable to share with you guys, a screen recording from like the DJI Fly app or a screen recording from the goggles here, which is a shame because I'd love to be able to share my telemetry with you, but that was a nice little shot right there. But unfortunately, it's kind of tough to do so. So I'm gonna try to kind of walk you guys through what I'm seeing in the goggles. Also, I'm gonna put up a timer on the screen and we can see how much flight time we get from this battery, because flight time is huge. And I'm also gonna try to call out some of the speeds. So right now, we're cruising at about 46 miles an hour. We're at about 45% throttle, but if we go full throttle here, we can do so, pitch the gimbal up to correct. So we're cruising at about 80 right now. 77, 75, and I think if we spin it around here, we'll do a quick turn, spin it around to go down water this way, we're gonna be able to get a little bit of a faster speed because the wind is coming down river. So yeah, now we're doing about 89, 87. Maybe you guys can hear the drone screaming in the background back there. Now, this is a spot where I typically do all of my first flights at, and it's funny because I'll fly all the way down to the bridge with the drone, being, like a Mavic or something, and it takes me about a minute to get down there, but it takes me one sentence now to get down there, really ripping. So again, we're doing about 80 miles an hour. I'm flying up and over these power lines. We'll come to a stop, and look, it was great. I can throw it into normal here. I could let the drone pretty much hover. I could flip up the goggles, talk to somebody. I could wait for a second. I could kind of collect my thoughts after I just got some shot that I wanted to, and I don't have to worry about continuing to always be on the sticks. I could drop the goggles back down when I'm ready to fly, spin it around, gain my orientation, drop it into manual. I'm gonna lower the gimbal pitch a little bit down to about 25 degrees because we're not gonna rip as hard because I don't wanna drain this whole entire battery. Flipped into manual, and now we're good. So now we're in full acro. So just after doing all of that ripping, we're at about 60. I almost hit the wires there. I don't know if you guys saw that. Oh man, forgot about those low-hanging wires. So we got about 54% battery. We are still ripping pretty fast, 60 miles an hour. I do just want to get it back a little bit closer to us here. I'm actually shaking because I just saw those wires. I can't wait to see the video back to see how close that I got to them. All right, so I'm gonna fly it right over top of our heads here. You guys definitely heard that one. Now let's get a little bit lower down to the water. I still can't believe those wires. See, we're doing 45 right now, and I feel like this is slow. The controls are great. I'll spin it around and come back around. See, all of the different fail-safes that this drone has built into it, like return to home, makes me really comfortable flying the drone. I've always wanted to get an FPV, but there's always been certain things, certain limitations that kind of hold me back. And one of which is just the fact that, you've really got to learn a lot to get into it. So the fact that I'm able to do this without having to do a lot of work on like soldering, building, it really does make it easy. All right, so now we are cruising. We're at about 36% battery left. There's some wires right there that I can see. I am going to throttle up, and I'm going to bring her back around just because, yeah, look, see? All right. So it's going to auto RTH right here. You see it automatically took me out because I hit about 35% battery left. So the drone is attempting to return to home by itself. So it's using its smart return to home. I'm talking to myself. It's using its smart return to home. It gauges how far away I am. It says, all right, 32% battery left. With your current return to home altitude, it's going to automatically come back, which is a great safety feature. But if I want to, I can just hit the return home button. I can cancel it, and I can keep flying around. Now, the thing with like a Mavic battery, which I am going to flip us back into manual here. The thing with a Mavic battery is that once you get down to 30%, if you just cruise back in sport mode, you're going to be okay. But this battery can drain so fast when you're ripping around in manual mode. It's pulling so much power from the battery that you can lose 10% battery in the span of 30 seconds. So as you continue to drain that battery down, it's going to eventually limit your throttle and limit the voltage output, which is good. That's a great safety feature. And see, just bringing it back in here, in order to land it, I can just flip it into sport mode. I can tilt the gimbal all the way down, and I can easily land the drone. That was another pain point for me, is landing like a traditional FPV drone. It was always a huge pain. All right, so I'm guessing that that flight was probably about 5 minutes, and 5 minutes wasn't enough. So I'm gonna throw a fresh battery in here, and we're gonna do one more flight. Now, before we move on here, I wanna take a second to give a huge thank you to Aukey for making my life easier during the review and testing process of the DJI FPV drone. Over the past couple of months, I have burned through batteries day in and day out, and they sent out their 288 watt hour power station, which was a huge help. It's got 2 AC outlets on there. It's also got a group of USB-A and a USB-C port, but those AC outlets are huge because I can charge my drone batteries on the go. So right now, we're actually outputting about 100 watts of power, or it's 75 watts of power to the batteries. But what's great is that I've got a nice stream of power coming in from their solar panel. Now this has a maximum output wattage of 100 watts. Right now we're only getting about 40 watts because I don't have prime sunlight, but regardless, they have made the process of flying this drone, reviewing it, so much easier, and I've got to give a huge thanks to them. All right, so flight number 2 here, again, great. We can just take this drone off right with our hand. It's pretty loud, but that's just kind of an FPV drone for you. It screams, I would say. So again, drop it into manual. 25 pitch degree is pretty good. Line up the sticks and drop down and in. We can tell you what, we're getting pretty lucky with these trains, being able to fly them, which is fun. You know, I always thought that these trains were really cool to fly with like the Mavic, but it's a lot more immersive to fly them with an FPV drone. And I realize I'm like kind of hitting the same line here, so you guys might be getting bored. So you know what? We'll peel back and we'll come over the bridge. You know, I've been flying here for a couple of months and I haven't gone under this bridge yet. Maybe we'll do it in this flight. Maybe we'll have another crash attempt. Even though the other one wasn't an attempt, it was an accident. So you guys are probably thinking that these batteries don't last all that long, which I can understand where you're coming from, because you know, a lot of the people subscribed to my channel are probably GPS drone flyers. I'm just pitching the gimbal angle up here to about 30 degrees. Which, you know, I can understand. You know, a lot of FPV guys, or a lot of GPS guys follow my channel, and I know that they're probably thinking to themselves, like, you know, you only got 5 minutes of flight time, that's pretty rough. But when you're really flying fast, and when you're really going, you know, pedal to the metal, throttle all the way forward, you are gonna drain that battery pretty quick. Even just in this flight, we're already down to about 82%. And of course, you know, I came back at about 30% battery left, but that's really the reason why I would recommend getting some extra batteries. Yeah, buddy, there we go. That actually wasn't too hard. Nice, awesome. So, you know, my style of flying, I'm not huge on the tricks. I've mentioned this in a couple of my previous videos, but I'd much rather prefer to, like, you know, cruise around, find little gaps and holes to kind of zip through. And especially using the full speed of the drone. Especially flying down low to the water is a ton of fun. So right now we're at about 74% battery. We're being much more reserved on the throttle this time around when we're just cruising around. So we're probably not going to get as little of flight time as we did on that last one. This shot is really cool. I love coming up and over the trees. I just don't think it's suited for an FPV drone though. I mean, I guess it's kind of cool, and it also looks a little bit rough and shaky in my goggles, but I know that Rocksteady is really gonna help smooth that out. So another thing that, I really like about being able to record the screen on like the DJI Fly app or the DJI Go app is I can show you guys not only the telemetry, but how the signal is holding up. And I can just say that for this entire flight, for everything that I've done, the signal is incredibly strong. All right, let's try it again. All right, that one was a little bit more rough. I kind of thought about doing it at the last second, so let's try to go onto the other set of bridges. All right, we'll try to fly underneath of where these wires are, so we've got to stay under the trees, and we'll go under this other set of bridges. How low are those wires hanging, though, is my question. All right, there they are. I can kind of see them just above. So, this style of flight right here, I'd never be really all that confident in if I was flying a home-built FPV drone. But flying one that's incredibly smart, like this one, like the FPV drone from DJI, it's like a no-brainer. So we're at about 57% battery. We're definitely being a lot more reserved on the sticks this time around. And the power of OcuSync 3, my bad, is really showing off here, flying all the way down the river. So right now our distance is 6,100 feet. This is where I do some of my urban range tests, and I've gotten well past the bridge here, but we're not going to necessarily do a range test here. We'll spin it around. It actually is giving me a low battery return to home promptly error right now. Not error, but warning. It says that there's about 5 minutes of flight time remaining, an estimated 5 minutes, and that I've got 49% battery left, 48%. So we're definitely going to make our way back here. I've seen a lot of people say that this is going to be like their long-range bomber. So they're going to use this drone to do their long-range FPV flights, just cruise around. Again, that's really what I enjoy it for. I've seen a lot of great videos. I am getting a little bit of signal breakup here. I've seen a lot of great videos, of pilots flying this in freestyle, which is great. But as you're exploring around, this is a great drone for that. Usually I have a lot more to say about a drone, but FPV manual flight requires a little bit more attention on the sticks. But the great thing about this drone is that you can end up flipping into that normal mode and just hover. All right, so let's really push it here now that we're past all of the obstacles. So we're flying at about 67 miles an hour. This almost feels just standard and normal for this drone at this point. Like whenever I'm flying another drone, Mavic, almost feels slow now. What I really like about this is that it includes a H within the goggle, so I can always tell where my home point is and I never get disoriented. So again, just like always, flip it into sport mode, pitch that gimbal downwards. It's trying to return home from right here. We're gonna stop that though. So we'll flip that gimbal downwards. It's like a negative 57-degree pitch, so it's not a perfect, flying right above me. It's not a perfect negative 90 degrees, but here we are. Alrighty, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. This drone is a ton of fun to fly. I can't wait to show you guys some more flights in the future. I can just imagine that, we'll be doing some vlogs in the future, going to different spots, flying this drone around, exploring, and getting some great footage. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think of the FPV drone down in the comment section below. I know that I didn't talk a lot about the specs in this video. I am always somebody that's really detailed about that, but I really wanted to focus on the flight. So if you guys want to learn more about this drone, feel free to check out my DJI FPV drone playlist down in the description. And as always, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.